Welcome back to Gangs All Here, our New York Jets podcast from the New York Post. I'm Jake Brown alongside my co-host, Jets beat writer for the Post, Brian Costello. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas. Nothing says a great Christmas present like the 32nd ranked offense facing the 32nd ranked defense on Christmas Eve. Nothing puts you in the holiday spirit like watching a terrible offense go up against a terrible defense in a game that matters absolutely nothing for any sort of playoff implications because he'll be there. He'll be there strong. Him and the other 10,000 people will be there.
10,000? You think there'll be 10,000 people there?
There'll be some
Maybe,
lunatics.
maybe if you're
You know.
counting those of us who are working. Yeah,
Yeah, if you include the workers, you include the suite attendants, the press, I think it'll make it to 10,000 and most of them will be absolutely crazy. And the good thing is, you want to take a positive is the holiday season. There is no rain in the
yeah,
forecast.
good
So
weather. Yeah,
finally there will be a 45-degree game, no conditions, and a nice Christmas Eve. Do you got a Christmas Eve, Christmas memories covering football?
sure. I mean, Victor Cruz, right?
Hmm.
That's an easy one.
That was
That,
Christmas Eve, right?
that was Christmas Eve. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the Victor Cruz element of that overshadows everything. Obviously, it's what's always will be remembered. But to me, I remember looking at the stat sheet at the end of the game, and Mark Sanchez had dropped back over 60 times, which was not a and they were winning most of the game. If you remember, like the Jets were controlling that game until the Cruise play, and so I knew Schottenheimer was going to get fired after that because it was like, holy crap, what are you doing? Um, that one definitely stands out. Trying to think if there's any other Christmas ones. Not really. I don't remember any other Christmas ones standing out. I don't think I've ever had to cover a game on Christmas Day, Jake. I don't remember that if it did.
I don't remember. You'll remember it. If the Jets won that game, was there a good chance they were making the playoffs? That was 2011, right?
I wouldn't say good chance. There was a chance, right? So what happened was they lost to the Eagles the week before. They got destroyed like 48-17 or some crap like that. And that basically put their hopes, dimmed their hopes. And then if they had won that week and then won again in Miami, I think they could have made it because they still could have made it. If they had won in Miami in the last week, that's the game, the Santonio Holmes game. If they had won in that and then a bunch of other things happened, they still would have made the playoffs. So because they finished 8-8 that year.
Hmm.
So they were 8-6 going into that Giants game, which I mean, now you'd be like, there'd be parades if they were 8-6.
Yeah, 8-6 in Philly. They're rioting for three straight losses. I said if they were Jets fans, the whole city would be torn down. So it's interesting looking back, and that was the last game before the 99-yard Holland Tunnel that our guy Adam Shine went to, and it was the start of this 13-year decline as we talk about it. But yeah, it's going to be a rough one on Sunday, and the stories leading up to that rough one is officially we won't have Aaron Rodgers, but he will be on the roster. What is your feeling on? I have mixed emotions on this because I get it, a fullback, it doesn't matter today. I feel bad for him though, like
He's back. He's
lose.
back. He's back. They're gonna sign him in the practice squad and he'll be elevated Saturday. Like he's not gone.
Okay,
And he
well,
got, and
who
his money was vested once he was on the roster week one. He's not losing any money.
he's not losing? Okay, all
So
right, I
nothing
didn't know
happened.
that.
No,
Okay,
yeah.
so
That
he'll be
it was,
fine.
I mean,
Or Nick Bowden.
did people make a big deal about that?
I don't know. They made a big deal. People were like, "Wow, take it." I mean, there were people made a big deal, like he took a roster spot of a guy
No,
trying
no,
to get
he'll be back
paid.
today. They'll sign him today to the practice squad. He's dealing with an injury, so I'm not sure if he can play Sunday. So, but if he's healthy, they'll elevate him Saturday to the active roster and he'll play.
So
And
then, whose
he's
spot
a
does he
vested
take?
veteran. He's a vested veteran. What?
So whose spot will he take
Oh,
then?
they'll cut someone on the practice squad,
Gotcha.
which
Okay.
is, I mean, which happens every single week. You had to do this because Rodgers, he's worked for 3 weeks now practicing. Like you want him to get as much football in as he can, as he works his way back from the Achilles. Like I think this is good stuff for him. I wouldn't be giving him 11 on 11 reps like they planned now. Like I'm not going to take reps away from Trevor Simeon, who I think is going to start this week, or Zach if he comes back. Like, but he's getting good work in, and if you did not activate him, Jake, he can't practice anymore. So he could throw to the side with like equipment guys if he wanted to, but he couldn't be on the practice field with the Jets. So I think this is important to let him keep practicing, and you want him to get as much football in as he can.
And the Jets social media team, One Jets Drive, they need it. I mean, you need content here these final few weeks. So
Do they
I,
still do one just drive every
every
week?
week, yeah, every
Wow.
week, or they might do it two games in a one now. They might have
Yeah, I was
consolidated.
gonna say, man, they've got to be scraping for content.
Yeah, they even well, that's why they need these slow motions
Well,
football porn videos of Aaron throwing.
that's not why he's practicing, Jake.
I know it's not why, but
I
I'm
assure
telling
you, the
you,
content team has no say in this decision
uh,
whatsoever.
Woody Johnson might be saying, "Hey, like we could
No,
use
he's
the
not.
PR, the positive
He's
PR."
not. He's not. He's
Yeah.
not.
Woody Johnson
This
getting a lot of
is
slack this week. He's getting a lot of people talking about him. He'll be part of one of our Twitter questions. Will be coming up a mailbag. So that's interesting. But I do think it plays a part. I do think that
no, it does not. Not one. I can tell you, not one iota. This was the plan all along. If he could not play, he was going to practice the rest of the season. Even if they had won the last 4 games, and, really honest way he was going to play. But like the practice all along was the plan all along was for him to be on the active roster, even if he couldn't play.
all right. The Rodgers also said this week, guys, he wants to play more than 1 year, and that opened some eyeballs. I think we all assumed he would try to play more than 1 year, but now he says it. What do you think about that? Could he be a Jet now? Not just 2024, but now 2025. Could he be New York Jet?
Yeah, I've always assumed that because of his contract. That's always the way when they read the contract, he'd be here through 2025. So I think the only way he wouldn't be is if he wins the Super Bowl and walks
Interesting.
away from the money.
So what is the 2025 contract situation? I
It's
didn't
a
get a
lot
look
of
at the
money.
numbers.
All the money that he pushed off got basically gets paid in 2025. So the Jets can't really, there's no really way to get out of this contract before 2026.
Gotcha. Okay. So we have a couple more years, and he gave strong support as well for Saleh, and I think it'll be a good sign. If Aaron Rodgers here 2 years, you missed out on 1 year, you got to get him for two. Zach Wilson, what's the update there? His mom had posted about his symptoms. It was an unlikely source, I guess, on Instagram. What did you think of the whole Zach Wilson saga?
Yeah, he's got a concussion, so I think he's unlikely to play. We're recording this before Thursdays. They're only doing walkthroughs Wednesday, Thursday, but I would not expect him to be able to come back from a concussion in a week. That's pretty tough. Did not practice Wednesday. You have to return to practice before you can play. That's part of the concussion protocol. So we'll see. Maybe he's out there Thursday, but I'm going to guess this is Trevor Siemian this week.
All right, we get the Trevor Siemian Christmas Eve show. I guess against Sam Howell. Sam Howell was benched last week for Jacoby Brissett.
I think they say
So
he's the starting quarterback though after the game.
okay, so Howell will still start. We'll see how short his leash is. We get two teams with quarterbacks who have a shot at getting benched every week. It's a rough situation for the Jets and Commanders. They fight for a top 5 pick. The Tankathon right now has the Commanders at 4. Their strength of schedule is 513. The Jets at 7 at 5-9, excuse me, and their strength of schedule is 508. So I believe you said the worst strength of schedule gets the higher pick. So the Jets would be higher.
The theory is if you have the same record and you played a weaker schedule, you deserve the better draft pick.
All right. So the Jets, because the Giants are probably going to lose to the Eagles, they'll go to 5-10. The Bears win 6-9, and then the Jets would top, I believe, all of them and move into the 4th spot potentially.
You don't know though, all the results affected, so it's a lot. There's still a lot of football left before the draft. So
Yep. Well, they're at 7 right now. We'll see if they hop a few spots, and that's the lure of this game. It's draft, and you're not going to say you want to see what you want to see in Trevor Siemian. And I think you're seeing now. You see guys nooks and crannies and nicks and bruises causing. Like we said, this is the start of the business decision week where some guys they're a little banged up. They're not going to take the risk and play. And what do you see on the Jet side? Who's banged up? Who's playing? Who's not?
yeah, I think everybody's playing. Jake, Quentin Jefferson went on IR. That was a pretty bad injury he suffered Sunday, but I think everybody else is okay. That was banged up. Max Mitchell's back practicing. We'll see if they play him or Billy Turner at right tackle. But I don't think there's anyone who's going to be out this week other than Zach, with the concussion.
Yeah, there's no use playing Zach, even if he clears concussion protocol in a game that does not matter. All right,
Oh, I
Battle
think
for
they'd play him if he cleared concussion protocol. I mean, you say it doesn't matter, but if you're Robert Saleh sitting there and everybody's calling for your job, it matters. Like, so they have a better chance of winning with Zach Wilson than Trevor Siemian on Sunday. So if he cleared, I think they'd play him, but I don't see how. I don't think I think Purdy might have cleared in a week from a concussion, but I don't think many other guys have cleared this year in a week from a concussion.
Can you sense the frustration from Sala and the noise heard around him about potentially getting fired? Do you sense it in the press conferences?
A little bit, I think his feeling is, the season was lost 4 plays in, and not enough people are giving that enough blame, but on the injuries and on the offensive line injuries. So I do think he's probably frustrated in that. He gave a little soliloquy the other day about how great it was in the summer of 2023 and on September 11th, and we're gonna feel that again. So that to me was him saying, "Hey guys, remember, there was excitement about this team. It went bad because of injuries." So I think he's a little frustrated with that.
All righty, let's preview this. I don't know how much there is to preview. Christmas Eve, Sunday, 1 p.m. 4-10 Commanders, 5-9 Jets, 32nd ranked offense, 32nd ranked defense. I guess break the game down, Kaz, as best as you can, and make your pick.
I got nothing, Jake. I don't know. I haven't looked at the Commanders. I mean, I saw they're terrible, and uh, I can't pick the Jets because Trevor Siemian is the quarterback, and the offensive line. What they did last week in Miami was probably the worst offensive line performance I've ever seen. So it's hard for me to imagine it's going to be 180 degrees different this week. That being said, the Commanders are obviously terrible. Ron Rivera is going to get fired. They fired their defense coordinator a month ago, but I can't pick the Jets. I'll go Commanders 9, Jets 7.
That's the kind of score you would imagine for this kind of game. It's going to
Yeah,
be very low scoring. If probably take the under. I didn't even check what was the spread in this game. Is it
I think
the
it's
Jets?
3. I think the Jets are favored by 3.
Jets are favored. You know what? I'll take the Jets. Screw it. It's the last time. I haven't took him in a while. It's the last time we're going to take him. Maybe you take him against the Patriots last week. I'm not going to take him against the Browns, who are fighting for potentially a division title. So I'll take the Jets. I'll say 13-9. It's going to be one of those kind of ugly games. 3 field goals. Jets get a touchdown, 2 field goals. The over is 37.5. I'd be a little surprised if it made it that far. But the Commanders' defense is terrible. Maybe this is Trevor Siemian game, the Siemian game. But yeah, it's going to be a low scoring, ugly game. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the Christmas Eve game. Enjoy your time home. Enjoy the time with family. Let's go next to our mailbag segment. Gangs All Here podcast. Jake Brown, Brian Costello at Brian Cos at Jake Brown Radio. And you could tweet at Brian Cos, where he has put a mailbag out there, and we will read your replies. Now, let's start with Israel DMS7, who is a loyal listener of the show. What do you think it'll take? What will the Jets be willing to give up for Devontae Adams? Cause I think it's got to be at least one first round pick. I'd be shocked if anything less.
Yeah, I'd be shocked. I mean, what did the Raiders give up for him, Jake? Do you have that?
Hearts, pull that up. But
But yeah, I would be. I mean, you're starting with this year's one, um, and then I would think maybe. I mean, it might be 2 1s.
a first and a second round pick is what they traded for him.
They traded a first and a second. All right, so then first and a second. They get first this year and a second in 2025. Um,
What was the
would probably be, and then maybe maybe another late round pick or something.
All right. So there's your
I
answer.
don't know if the Jets would be willing to do that, and I wouldn't do that for sure. The
You would
Jets,
not trade for him.
no. The Jets need to draft an offensive lineman, and I would sign Mike Evans or T Higgins or So one of those guys who, if they hit the market in free agency and you're just giving them money, you're not giving up draft picks. I mean, Devontae's what, 32 years old at this point. Obviously, he would have a great impact for 2024, you'd think, but
He's 30.
he's
He'll be
30.
31 on
He'll
Christmas
be
Eve, actually, on Sunday.
so 30. So he'll be 30. He'll be 31 going to 32 next season. Yeah, I would. I would go a different route and not give away assets. I mean, to me, if you watch last week's game, right, put Devontae Adams out there, he's doing nothing because they wouldn't be able to get him the ball. Like you need to shore up this offensive line and um obviously in the draft, if Marvin Harrison Jr. is available, maybe I feel differently because that's a wide receiver that's going to be on your team for 10 years. But other than him, I'm taking one of those tackles with this draft pick.
The other side of it, guys, that people will argue is that Rodgers is going to vouch for them to trade for Adams. I guess they just got to say, hey, you're not the GM. I'll call the shots.
Yeah, I don't think it's just
But
Rodgers. I think other people want him too in the organization, but I think ultimately it's Joe Douglas, and Joe doesn't usually give away draft picks in trades. So
interesting, though, if they could, or if they keep their pick this year, assuming they're better next year, it's a late first round pick. Would the Raiders consider taking a 2020? I got to do the year
why?
math.
But you're not going to do
2025
that.
first
You're not
round
going to do
pick.
that for Devontae Adams. And
Yeah,
the Raiders are going to be in the mode where they need stuff this year, right?
that's
They're
true.
going to have a new GM, and I don't know if they're going to hire Antonio Pierce or another coach, but they're going to be in like rebuild now mode. They're not going to be looking. You do that future pick stuff, Jake, for a lesser player than Devontae, I think.
All right, so there's your answer, Israel. First and a second, we think. Kaz says no. I'd consider it. I don't think it's a lock. They'll be able to sign Higgins or Evans because Evans, he could end up being a lifelong Buck. He's had an incredible career there. They may end up bringing him back. Who knows? And T. Higgins, I could see going because they're not going to pay Chase and T. Higgins. So he's the other guy. But man, it is a sexy thought at Devontae on one side and Garrett the other. LC, the wee Lee. Do you think JD will trade out of the top 10 to get us back into the second round / accommodate more picks? Or is it more likely to capitalize on a top 10 OT offensive tackle cost?
Yeah, I think it's more likely to get a top 10 OT. Now, let's say that the kids from Penn State and the kids from Notre Dame are gone, the two top tackles, then maybe you're looking to trade back. It's so early, Jake, in December. I don't know what's going to be there for people to want to trade up for, right? Like how many quarterbacks are going to be going? Will people be looking to get in the top 10? You need trade partners to do that. There's not always a lot of interest in trading up, but to me, I think they're gonna be trying to get one of those tackles right now, sitting here in December.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's just too big of a need right now for them to just risk losing out on one of the top tackles to get someone else later on. So I don't see that happening. DMR Mets, great job, guys. They say that this draft has a few good tackle prospects. Would the Jets take a better tackle prospect with a pick, or they rather trade back, maybe get a second round pick and take a tackle anyway with a later first round pick by trading back? Similar to the
That's a
last
good
question, I
question.
guess.
Yeah.
But
No,
so
yeah, they need to get a stud left tackle. Right? Like that's what they need. And you're not getting that. I mean, later in the drafts is less of a chance. So I think you're looking at one of those two tackles.
from D. Kachalane 23. This is not about firing him because we know he's tied to A-Rod, but from a media / fan perspective, why is GM Joe the most Teflon sports executive in NYC right now?
Um so he came in a weird situation, right? He came in June where that year was basically not there was nothing on him. 2020, everyone wanted to blame Gase for everything, right? 2021 was a new coach. Um, and then there's the last 2 years. And this year, I think, Rodgers' injury goes over everything. And I think in 2022, he had maybe the best draft class in the history of the franchise. We'll see if they continue on that path. But he had two rookies of the year, so you weren't really going, "Oh, fire Joe Douglas in 2022." That kind of carried over to this year. I mean, he's done some really good things. This roster is better than it was when he got here, and the defense is a legit top 10 NFL defense, and Most of the players there were his acquisitions. Quinnen and Mosley are the ones that were here that he inherited. But he's done a good job on that side. He has royally failed on the offensive line, and which is ironically what he came in
That's
touted
his thing.
as. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's I think the Rodgers thing is, but people want to say, oh, Aaron Rodgers is running the organization. He's bringing these guys back. I don't think it's that simple. I just think it's the way things are right now. It doesn't make sense to get rid of these guys when 2024 is going to be a go for it year with Aaron Rodgers. You wouldn't bring in a new GM and a new coach who are going to want to rebuild this thing and change a lot of stuff. So he's getting a pass. And but I think Jake, I think 2024 for Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh is going to be really uncomfortable because I think they are going to be under, a white hot spotlight of everything that happens. Um, if the team starts 1-3, people are going to be saying fire them now. Like there's going to be no wiggle room in 2024. None.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because now the whole thing, if Rodgers plays 2025, this isn't a 2 year extra,
Yeah,
agreement with them.
I don't think they get a pass for 2024 because of Rodgers. I think that's over. So
Mhm.
yeah, even if he's playing in 2025, I think at that point you tell him deal with it. We're making a change if things don't go well.
Yeah, and even if Rodgers, I think if he gets hurt again or something, you can't use the injuries as an excuse again. If they don't make the playoffs, period, I think they're gone next year if they end up coming back. From Nick Flair, and why is there any chance the Jets demote Hackett and hire a new offensive coordinator? That's interesting. Do you keep Hackett on the staff? Maybe give him offensive assistant title, red zone specialist, and then put in a new offensive coordinator? Can you see that happening?
No, I don't see that happening. I think that's the one where Aaron has something to say. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to Woody and saying, "Oh, keep Joe Douglas, keep Robert Saleh," but Nathaniel Hackett's his guy. So, yeah, I think he'll be the offensive coordinator next year. Do you know? I don't know. Do they give Todd Downing more responsibility? Maybe something like that. But I think he's going to be the offensive coordinator. I really look. Rodgers is going to be calling the shots next year if he's playing the games. He's going to be the one. The offense is designed for him to go to the line of scrimmage and call the play. Like this is like Peyton Manning in Denver, or Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. Like remember in the beginning, they tried to force Tom Brady to kind of do their thing when he got there and it didn't work. And then like halfway through the season, they're like, all right, go ahead, do your thing, Tom. And they won the Super Bowl. So this is going to be Aaron Rodgers' offense if he's healthy, and Nathaniel Hackett will be along for the ride.
That's a good way of putting it. All right, similar question here. I mean, I guess we just answered it. Spicy Jetpack and Lancaster Royal. Who gets fired this offseason? Who is going to be sacrificed to get fired? Well, we think they're keeping them. Do they maybe fire Keith Carter or
Keith
some of these
Carter could be
assistants?
maybe. I mean, I don't think that's something Solid would want to do. I think that would come from Woody. If Woody's like, somebody has to go, maybe it's Keith Carter. The offensive line's been terrible. I don't necessarily know if it's his fault. He's playing his seventh right guard. But yeah, you look at the offense, Jake, and what strikes me is where have they gotten better? Where's the player development? On defense, you see it. Like there's guys like Quincy Williams and Bryce Huff and Tony Adams who aren't like high pedigree draft picks, and they've gotten better, and that's coaching. And on offense, you just don't see it. You haven't seen it with the Jets in ages. I feel like maybe I'm forgetting somebody, but I feel like Robbie Anderson's probably the last guy that they like was like he was undrafted and developed into something. So, and that's like 4 coaching staffs ago or something. But it's just you look at it, even like Xavier Gibson, he's done okay, but he like I don't know, he hasn't gotten better and better. Like you saw the seeds of this in training camp, and it hasn't really. You want to see more, So I think they have to look long and hard at the offensive coaching staff beyond Nate Hackett.
From Hair Club Prez, which not something we're a part of. How meddling is Woody? He seems horrible, forced out MLF, and then we couldn't attract a good OC because lame duck / Woody situation. Now we hear he's reviewing game plans, question mark. I really feel if we had a better organization, parentheses owner, we'd attract better GM / coaches.
Well, I haven't heard he's reviewing game plans. That would be, interesting. But uh Woody's not Jerry Jones. but Woody's heavily involved. Like he likes to know what's going on and he weighs in on stuff. And yeah, he's heavily involved, right? It's like he wants to know uh all the stuff like the draft he's involved with, and um week to week he meets with the coaches, he meets with Saleh. I don't know if beyond that, Saleh, he meets with Douglas. So he's got his hands in it, Jake, and he's got opinions and personnel stuff, what he weighs in on. It's his right to do it. He's the owner. But I do think if he says Saleh and Douglas are coming back, he needs to just get out of the way and go, all right, like they need a year where they can do what they want to do. And the money is Woody's decision, how much money he wants to give them for free agency and stuff like that. But he should let them just do, go out the way they want to. If this is it for them, they should get to make the decisions without his interference.
So you're saying he has the right to do what he wants, but maybe he should meddle a little bit less than he has been.
Yeah, meddle's a tough word, Jake. Right? He owns the team, so is it meddling? I don't know. It's his right. If you own a sports team, like you should want to know what's going on. I think if it was the opposite way and he lived in, he has a house in Florida, right? If he stayed in Florida all year and had nothing to do with the team other than cutting checks, I think we'd be ripping him for that. I think we'd be saying, oh, he's an absentee owner, right? Like, why isn't he more involved?
Mhm.
He should want to know what is going on. He should be asking questions. The team's not doing well. He should be trying to figure out why, and he should be evaluating everything. Where I think it goes a little too much is if he starts trying to involve himself in football decisions. He doesn't know who the best right guard is. He doesn't like that. Like he succumbs to what many of you fall into the trap of like, oh, I read this or I saw this on Twitter and that's what I think. That like he can't do that. Like just stay out of the football decisions, but he should be like asking questions about what the process is.
So basically, stick to the color uniforms and what you're going to tweet those out and
No,
stay out of
no.
the
And
football.
I would, if I was advising Woody, I'd say stop tweeting the damn uniforms.
He makes such a big deal out of that. I'm like, all right, bro, we get it. Like you like the black pants and the green jersey. Like enough.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he's doing there. I would advise him to stop. I would advise him to cut back on Twitter a little bit.
Yeah, he's a big Twitter guy. So maybe you're right. Maybe he is reading the tweets. Maybe he's seeing our
Oh, I
tweets. Who
think he
knows?
absolutely reads the tweets. I think he absolutely does.
Yeah.
So
He's got to when he scrolls and not accidentally hit like on something. That's the key when you're
yes, he's done
scrolling or
that
not.
before. He did that. God, when he did that once, I can't remember what it was.
I wish I remembered the tweet you were talking about.
Yeah,
But I mean, I guess according to you, you said that Joe Flacco's not here because of him. So maybe that was the
I never
decision.
said that. I said that there was. I said it wasn't because of Joe Douglas. I said maybe somebody else did not want him.
Someone else in
I didn't
the
say who it was.
the mysterious person who does not like Joe Flacco in the Jets organization. We'll
Yep.
find out one day. From E. Jerlin, a loyal listener to the show. I enjoy gangs all here. Always fun, whether I agree with you and JB or not. The Jets can't fire Saleh without firing Joe Douglas too. Can't let a lame duck GM pick the new HC, and the ambassador owner isn't extending Joe Doug's contract. Yes, either all in or all out. Which do you prefer? Thanks. So you sort of answer this, but
Yeah, I
you
agree with
assume
them
they're
because I,
tied.
I have heard that question of okay, they fire Saleh and keep Douglas. Like, then where are you in a year, right? If it doesn't go well in a year, now you're gonna fire Douglas, and now you have a coach. Like they are married to me. Like it's it's fire both of them or fire neither of them. That's clear to me.
All right. From Camp Hope owner, Brian, can you just speak to Aaron's influence this upcoming off season with free agent and draft? It feels like he's keeping the band together if Aaron blesses it. Do you think he's only gotten more power the way this team broke down? Interesting.
No, I don't think he's got more power. I think they're gonna listen to him, but I don't think it's gonna be quite as much of like, okay, every ex-Packer he likes is gonna be here. I think they can say like, hey, Aaron, Randall Cobb didn't work out, Alan Lazard didn't work out.
Tim
Uh,
Boyle, who signed with the Texans practice squad, by the way.
yeah, Timber was a little lesser, but yeah, they. So I don't. I think he'll be involved, but I don't think he's calling the shots. Of free agency, and I don't think he'll be involved in the draft at all. I think it's more free agency. They'll ask him his opinion of.
Yeah, and that's where the trade with Adams comes in. But yeah, there's no real former Packer. Who else are they going to get at this
I
point? I
don't
mean,
think.
Bakatari is the big talk. Maybe
Yeah,
Bakatari comes here.
maybe. I mean, yeah, I don't. I don't think you go down that road, but maybe. Uh, to me, they don't need him to say go get Devontae Adams. Like you know what Devontae Adams is,
Yeah.
right? So like you either like him or you don't. You either like the price that the Raiders are asking or you don't. I don't think that's going to be all Aaron. And don't overlook Hackett here too, because everything goes on Aaron, right? Hackett was a driving force behind Lazard because he had him in Green Bay. So Hackett knows these guys too. I think Hackett's pushing for, and Hackett's not that Hackett has more influence. Hackett's in more meetings, right, where they talk about this stuff. Aaron Rodgers isn't sitting through their free agency meetings. There's probably going to be a call at some point from Douglas of like, hey, what do you think of this guy or that guy? But that's it.
From NY Jet Fire, will the Jets pick up Vera Tucker's fifth-year option?
That's a good one. I think yes. But yeah, obviously there's injury concerns there. Um, I do think an Achilles and a torn triceps are kind of freak one-off injuries that he suffered back to back. It's not like he has a chronic knee condition, right? Like when Mekhi Becton, you looked at him and it was like, okay, his knee keeps hurting. He's a large man. This is probably not going to go away during his career. I don't think you look at AVT and go, he's going to have recurring Achilles problems. So I would pick up the option. I think the Jets need to figure out this offseason what position AVT plays and stop moving him around and kind of let him settle in at one position, whether that's guard or tackle. And I think it'll probably depend on some of the other moves they make. I think AVT will probably fill the spot that they can't fill. Like if they find a really good right guard, AVT will play right tackle. If they find a good right tackle, AVT can play right guard. So, but I would pick a position for him this offseason and let him like grow there.
And gotta hope he stays healthy. I mean, that was the big thing with this O line. Like, it's not like they had no talent; they just had terrible injury luck
Well, they
across the board
started
too.
from a place of weak talent, Jake. Remember we talked about it all summer, right? And the
That's what you
practice,
wrote about a lot. Was you were worried
yeah,
about the offensive
that
line?
practice. I mean, that practice in South Carolina was jarring, and they can downplay it all they want, but it was jarring. They got dominated by the Panthers that day. And then from there they had injuries. So I thought they had a decent group. That the second group that played, I want to say they played weeks 3, 4, and 5. I thought that group was okay, and then AVT went down and things went south from there.
All right, last question comes from Jake in Astoria. What's your
Uh-oh.
favorite Christmas movie, Kaz?
Jake from Story. We have to answer this guy's question.
Yeah, he's a clown.
Favorite Christmas movie. I like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation a lot. I'd
Okay.
probably go there. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie, Jake? Where do you fall on that argument?
Uh,
I
I
like
don't
Die
think
Hard.
so.
What?
I don't think so. I don't think
No.
so. All
Uh,
right, Christmas Vacation. I think Brian Boyle said that on our Rangers podcast. I think he said Christmas Vacation as well.
yeah,
So,
hard to go wrong with that. What is yours?
mine is Jingle All the Way. I love Jingle All the Way. It's so ridiculous, but
I don't think
so
I've ever
funny.
seen that. That's Arnold
Oh,
Schwarzenegger.
yeah. It's have a bottle of wine and watch. You drink wine? Are you a wine? Are you
I don't
Chris? You
drink.
don't drink wine? You don't drink. Period.
All right.
Oh, okay. Again, this is why you remember all these things. I don't, but have a Diet Coke and watch Jingle All the Way. It's just such a quotable movie. Everything Arnold says. Maybe I saw it as a kid, so on VHS it
Hmm.
was better, but it is a
What's the
classic.
quote? Well, give me a quote because I feel like I don't know any quotes from Jingle.
Hearts went to see it in theaters the other day. I guess it was playing at some random theater, so Hearts went to go see it in person, which a little crazy, but he's in my house eating my cookies, decorating my tree. Put that cookie down. It's basically Arnold is divorced wife. This guy comes in her house decorating the tree, playing with the kid, and he has to get him his Turbo Man doll. Turbo Man, it's Turbo time, and he dresses up as the Turbo Man, and he goes through all these leaps and bounds to find this rare Turbo Man doll for his son Jamie for Christmas. And it's just I don't know. It's hard to reenact the whole thing, but it's
Is that from the
Sinbad
'90s, Jake? Is that '90s?
'90s. Yeah,
Arnold,
it's
like Arnold,
wildly
I
corny,
think there's
but
an Arnold documentary right on Netflix right now. I haven't watched it, but Arnold's career is fascinating with like
oh yeah,
all the twists and turns and like how he became this like comedy guy in the '90s is very interesting.
I mean that and the old, I think it was Batman and Robin. I mean, my name is Freeze. Learn it well. It'll be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
chilling
Mr.
sound of your doom.
Freeze.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so dumb, but just
Well, how about
something
the
about his
movie where? How
delivery.
about the movie where he's pregnant too?
Oh, twins. Yeah, classic.
No, no,
Him
not
and
twins.
uh,
Twins is what they do. There's a movie though where he's pregnant. Like he's. I think it might be with Danny DeVito again, but he's. Like, look it up. Arnold Schwarzenegger pregnant.
yeah, what movie is definitely Junior. Junior.
Junior.
Yes,
Yeah,
Junior. Yeah, it's a classic. Yeah, I mean they're
it's not a
ridiculously
classic,
dumb,
Jake.
but
It's not a
it's
classic.
it's
Let's define
classic in terms of
classics.
hilarious. Not like it's a great, incredibly directed, great scenery. It's just a ridiculous movie. That's what Jingle All the Way is. Ridiculous, but I'm shocked you haven't watched it. Watch it with your kids. I feel
I
like your
saw
kids.
something jarring, Jake, the other day. It reminded me how old I am, and maybe you'll feel old too. The Christmas Vacation. The woman at the counter in the mall that's talking to Clark. Remember?
I don't remember the movie
Bit,
well.
bit
I've
nipply
seen it like
outside.
once.
Bit nipply outside.
Yeah, yeah,
Remember
yeah.
that scene? She turned 70 recently.
Wow. Yeah, we are getting old. That's good. I feel old when the Hess truck ad has been a commercial on this podcast. And there's a pre-roll, mid-roll that you remember the Hess trucks here.
Yeah.
I was like, it's still going?
There used
Like
to
I
be a
used to
Hess
have
truck in
those.
every Jets locker. Every Jets player used to get a Hess truck.
Really?
Even after Leon Hess didn't own the team anymore. Yeah. There used to be one.
When was this back in like 2000? Do you remember?
I can so I clearly remember it being in Brett Favre's locker because when we went in there that day, like we were like, is Favre going to be here? And everything was cleared out of his locker except this little Hess truck was in his locker.
He left the truck.
He left the Hess truck behind.
Uh,
Yeah. How about the feeling old, Jake? Did you see the bowl game the other night with Josh McCown's son versus Chad Pennington's son?
I didn't watch it, but I know they've been thriving. Who won?
Yeah. Uh, Josh McCown's son won UTSA. Yeah, but
Wow, they beat Marshall, right? He's on
Marshall, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Chad's son, was probably he must have been a baby like when Chad was here. But I can remember his two sons throwing on the field all the time, being around. So that was jarring to see that.
And Josh is still coaching the Panthers? I don't think he
Oh,
got
he got
fired.
fired.
Oh, he did.
So we got him on the podcast, Jake. That's the good news.
Yeah, he's got some free time now. His son's bowl game's done. I mean, I love Josh McCown, and unfortunate situation there because they just made the wrong draft pick. I mean, it's that simple. The Panthers.
Well, he also the crazy owner.
Yeah, that too. The owner Tepper is a little nuts, and man, if they had, they regret that every day. I mean, Tepper's basically said that. He's like, "Oh, we were close to trading for that pick, and he didn't get it." So. All right, well, there it is. Christmas Vacation. I'll go Jingle All the Way. Let us know. Tweet me at Jake Brown Radio. What's your favorite Christmas movie? All right, well, enjoy the game, Kaz. I'll do a quick post-game Christmas Eve show. If you're listening at Christmas to a Jets Commanders post-game show, well, you deserve a cookie yourself because you are crazy, but we appreciate
Seek help.
Seek help immediately. Merry Christmas. We'll close this episode next. All righty. That says goodnight to episode 173 of Gangswell here, our New York Jets podcast from the New York Post. Thanks to Andrew Hartz for helping me producing the show. Catch up on all old episodes by subscribing on Apple, Spotify, Google, Amazon, wherever you get podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating. Write a nice review. If you're watching us on that New York Post Sports YouTube page, let us know below. Give us a thumbs up below. Comment below. What is your favorite Christmas movie, and what did you think of the show? If you're not subscribed, go do it on the New York Post Sports YouTube page. Find that Gangs All Here playlist. Follow it to catch up on all clips and episodes of the program. Well, Merry Christmas, everyone. I think I'm actually going to be alone for Christmas this year. Kind of depressing, honestly. I had the option to go home. I didn't really want to go down to South Carolina for Christmas. There's always things going on here, and I like to be in the area. So we do celebrate both. Had my dad is Catholic, mom Jewish, so used to get double presents. It was a good time. But maybe might be a Chinese food and a movie kind of Christmas. Watch, the Knick game. And hope you all have a happy, healthy holiday season, a Merry Christmas. I guess I could say it again because we're recording right after the game Sunday, so I'll say Merry Christmas again then. But if you don't hear this till after Christmas, have a great Christmas, everyone. For Brian Costello, I am Jake Brown. I'll do a mini episode after the Jets Commanders game. There's probably nothing to happen in that game that will be worth doing a long, extended program. Well, we do appreciate your support. Thank you for everyone for tweeting in at Brian Cos and follow me at Jake Brown Radio, tweeting in your questions. A lot of good questions this week. We'll try and keep doing that, get you guys involved, mailbag as we look ahead of the offseason, tankathon, the draft, and all that. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Thanks for listening to Gangs All Here, everybody.